Look at this. In the southern part of India, focus on this state of Kerala. If you zoom in exactly here, you will find black sand beach, Varkala. It is called black sand beach because, well, sand here is literally black and it's radioactive. The reason this sand is black and radioactive is that it contains thorium, which sits here in the periodic table, just 2 atomic numbers lighter than uranium. But just like uranium, thorium can also be used as a nuclear fuel. Thorium holds the secret to unlimited, almost free electricity for India. We have enough thorium to power India for over 700 years. But then why are we not using it? Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam even claimed in 2007 that
in 5 to 7 years time, India will have the thorium-based nuclear reactors for power generation.
But then where is it? Thorium nuclear energy is not only safer, nuclear accidents like Chernobyl or Fukushima is almost impossible with thorium nuclear energy, but it also ensures India can never be held hostage by other countries when it comes to its nuclear energy. Nature has played a cruel trick with India. In India, uranium is found here in these regions. We have 6 underground uranium mines in the country. This mine in Andhra Pradesh and this mine in Jharkhand state make up for about 75% of all uranium reserves in the country. See, the problem is not that we don't have enough. Actually, in total, we have about 3,25,000 tons of natural uranium reserves. The problem is almost all of these uranium deposits are very low in quality. So to operate our nuclear power plants, which we have 24 of, by the way, in 7 different locations across 6 states, we have to import uranium. A lot of it, in fact. And where do we import it from? Kazakhstan, Canada, Russia, Uzbekistan. We need roughly 2,000 tons of uranium every year, and 70% of it, around 1,400 tons roughly, comes from these countries. The rest 600 tons is produced domestically. This is where the problem is. The heavy reliance on foreign supply chains exposes the country to geopolitical shocks. Overnight, our nuclear power plants can be cut off from the uranium supply chain. And if you think this fear is theoretical or is exaggerated, let me tell you this has already happened in the past. On 18th May 1974, deep in the deserts of Rajasthan, India was working on its first secret nuclear test. See, 10 years back in 1964, China had already carried out its first nuclear weapon test, codenamed Project 596. India and China had already fought once here in 1962. So India felt vulnerable. At 8:05 am, 107 meters underground, a nuclear bomb codenamed Smiling Buddha is detonated. Although Indira Gandhi claimed this nuclear test was for peaceful purposes, India claimed it had no intention of developing full-fledged nuclear weapons. The rest of the world did not buy this argument. US, USSR, UK, Canada, France, West Germany and Japan, they formed a nuclear suppliers group or NSG, and they blacklisted India from the world's uranium market. India could not buy uranium or advanced reactor technology from anyone. This forced India to look for uranium within its own country. But you know, right, what we just saw? We just saw India's uranium is of low quality. Before Smiling Buddha operation, US helped India build Tarapur nuclear station in 1969 and Canada helped build this nuclear station in Rajasthan. In fact, India used nuclear reactors supplied by Canada meant for this nuclear station, and then heavy water supplied by USA meant for this nuclear station to conduct its first nuclear test, Smiling Buddha. So these two countries, they felt betrayed by India, and that is understandably so. This nuclear embargo, which was imposed on India by all these nuclear suppliers group, it lasted for 34 years only to be over in 2008. Within these 34 years, India was forced to develop its own nuclear reactor in Kalpakkam in Tamil Nadu. Now, to keep India's nuclear weapons program active, Indian agents successfully smuggled heavy water and other resources from USSR, China, and Norway. In May of 1998, India conducted one more nuclear test, codenamed Operation Shakti, after which India declared itself full nuclear weapon state.
Today, at 15:45 hours, India conducted 3 underground nuclear tests in the Pokhran range.
India had to face so many sanctions after that. US even pressured World Bank to postpone a loan of $865 million, which was meant for India at that time. Even today, as we import 70% of our uranium requirements, there is a condition attached to it. We are not allowed to use this imported uranium for building any of our nuclear weapons. This brings us to this element, thorium. Thorium, named after Thor, the god of thunder, also basis of the Marvel superhero Thor, is a bit special for India. Unlike uranium, which we have like 3,25,000 tons of, that too in very low quality, we have the world's highest thorium reserves at more than 10 lakh tons. And most of it is located here. This is why this sand beach in Kerala has black sand, because it's not a simple sand. It's called monazite sands. Now, these monazite sands contain up to 10% of thorium. According to government's own documents, energy potential of this thorium reserve is estimated to be more than 1,55,500 gigawatt years. This basically means our thorium reserves can produce 1 gigawatt of electricity for 1,55,500 years. Let's do some basic calculation. Since India's total installed electrical capacity as per Niti Aayog is 524 gigawatts, and this, by the way, includes everything, right? Coal, wind, solar, hydro, nuclear power plants, whatever we have right now. This much thorium reserves in India, they can power India for 300 years, 3 centuries. Scientist Homi Bhabha even created a 3-stage nuclear power program way back in 1958, especially for thorium, because he understood how important it is for India. But then my question to you is, why are we still not there yet? For answering that, imagine a single neutron hitting a uranium atom. The uranium atom splits into 2 lighter atoms plus 3 more neutrons, and a massive amount of heat is generated. These 3 neutrons go on to hit other uranium atoms, triggering a chain reaction. Now, this is called nuclear fission. The heat generated here can be used to convert water into steam, which then turns turbines to produce one of the most reliable and cleanest forms of electricity known to us. See, here's the thing. At the start of this century, there were 3 major ways of producing electricity from nuclear reactions. Number 1 is bombarding uranium-235 with a neutron, which starts a chain reaction, as we just saw. The problem is, if you take 100 grams of natural uranium, only 0.7% is uranium-235 that we need for this reaction. The rest, 99.3%, is uranium-238, which is much more stable and not fissile. So the second popular method is to take uranium-238, which is much more easily available in nature, and bombard it with a neutron, which creates plutonium-239, which is highly fissile. And by the way, like fissile, the word fissile, being fissile means when a neutron hits it, it splits easily and releases heat and spits out more neutrons to sustain a continuous chain reaction. So now when a second neutron hits plutonium-239, it splits and releases massive amounts of heat. In an actual reactor, a mixture of uranium-235 and uranium-238 is placed, with uranium-235 as 5% and the rest 95% being uranium-238. This way, uranium-235 can start the fission reaction, and the neutrons released from the reaction, they convert uranium-238 to plutonium, which keeps the reactor going even if 5% of uranium-235 is long gone. The third method of producing nuclear energy is to take thorium. Thorium is not a fissile material, just like uranium-238. Now, if you shoot a neutron at thorium, it doesn't split. Instead, it absorbs the neutron and undergoes a process called transmutation. When thorium-232 absorbs a neutron, it decays over several weeks, eventually transforming into uranium-233. Now it is this newly created uranium-233 that is a highly efficient fissile isotope. It subsequently splits upon absorbing a neutron, releasing immense energy to sustain the chain reaction. But breeding this fuel, uranium-233, it requires specialized containers, vessels, pipes, which are not properly researched even today. But think about this, right? Even after so many years, where we have perfected the first and the second way of generating nuclear energy, that is via uranium, why have we not researched thorium reactors? After the Second World War, the primary mandate of state-funded nuclear programs in the US and the Soviet Union was not to generate sustainable electricity, but to rapidly accumulate weapons-grade plutonium for nuclear bombs. Traditional uranium reactors created plutonium-239 as a byproduct, which was at the time the main use case of nuclear reactors. Using nuclear reactors for cheap and clean electricity was a second thought. In 1955, US military authorized Operation Teapot, consisting of 14 nuclear tests. Now in one of the tests, they made the core of nuclear bomb from uranium-233 bred from thorium. The same reaction that we just saw. This test had 33% less than expected impact. Not only that, making the uranium-233 core was extremely dangerous due to high gamma radiation. Because of this, scientists advised military to abandon thorium-based nuclear weapons and only focus on uranium and plutonium-based nuclear weapons. By 1973, thorium research was completely defunded by the US government. All of this money was diverted to uranium and plutonium-based nuclear reactors. When priorities shift, the first thing that moves is the money. Tracking exactly where those funds are coming from and where they are going is the backbone of any major operation. Now, if you're running a business, tracking every single rupee or dollar is the difference between success and failure. This is where Odoo Accounting comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software, and their Odoo Accounting app takes the absolute boring part of running a business, that is bookkeeping, and puts all the tedious tasks on autopilot. Right from the dashboard, you have an overview of bills to pay, you have overview of cash flow, you have overview of transactions. It syncs directly with over 26,000 bank accounts to show real-time bank statements. It automates your invoicing through AI OCR with 98% accuracy rate. That fetches all the information and all you have to do is validate. Instead of drowning in chaotic Excel sheets or losing receipts, you get a clean real-time dashboard of your company's financial health. And with over 70 plus localization packages, Odoo Accounting is ready for the Indian market. Now, whether you need to track payment statuses, manage vendor bills, or handle complex tax reports that comply with local tax laws, Odoo does it all seemingly in one place. Plus, the first app on Odoo is free for life, and their whole suite is available for just 580 rupees per month per user. So click the link in the description or scan this QR code to check out Odoo Accounting app today so that you stop wasting time on the boring bookkeeping part and start focusing on your real business. Now coming back to India, when India was blacklisted from the uranium market for 34 long years, India had to rely on its low quality uranium supply. Dr. Homi Bhabha realized that India's only path to survival was its thorium sands. Now, to make this thorium reactor a reality, Dr. Homi Bhabha created a 3-stage nuclear power program. First, India uses natural uranium in standard reactors to generate electricity and create plutonium as a byproduct. Now, we already have such reactors running at various locations in India. This is how we today generate electricity from uranium. Now in stage 2, we take this plutonium from stage 1 and we mix it with even more uranium to create essentially a tsunami of neutrons flying around. At the center of it, we place thorium. Those neutrons bombard thorium and start converting it into uranium-233. This is where we are at today. We have commissioned one 500 megawatt prototype fast breeder reactor at Kalpakkam in Tamil Nadu. Commercial operation, however, is expected later to start in 2026. In the final stage, we transition to advanced heavy water reactors or AHWR. Here, you have sufficient uranium-233 collected from stage 2. As the U-233 burns and releases neutrons, those neutrons strike thorium. The thorium instantly absorbs the neutrons and transforms into U-233. Therefore, the reactor now becomes self-sustaining loop. Now, although we have successfully designed a 300 megawatt reactor for this stage 3, but the reality is far from completion. Department of Atomic Energy is saying the commercial stage 3 deployment will happen after 2070 because collecting U-233 will take that much amount of time. The only way to speed this up is to build more stage 2 fast breeder reactors. But for a moment, let's see what is India's ambition. Now we have successfully scaled our nuclear energy capacity to 8,880 megawatts or 8.88 gigawatts. But India's ambition is to produce 100 gigawatts from nuclear energy itself by 2047. The goal is 100 gigawatts of nuclear energy by 100 years of independence. Government took two major steps for this. Historically, only Nuclear Power Corporation of India Limited, which is NPCIL, could build nuclear power plants in India. Now, being a 100% government-owned entity meant NPCIL never had any significant amount of cash to build the nuclear reactors at a pace we want. To solve this, government allowed NTPC, public sector company that basically builds thermal power plants, to form a joint venture with NPCIL, and this was named Ashwini. Now, this Ashwini has the capital infusion power of NTPC because NTPC is a significantly profitable public sector enterprise. The second major step that the government took was it introduced a bill in parliament called Sustainable Harnessing and Advancement of Nuclear Energy for Transforming India, or Shanti in short. This bill, introduced in 2025, allowed private sector companies to team up with the government and make nuclear power plants in the country. Remember, faster we expand our nuclear capacity, faster we'll be able to reach our goal of using thorium-based reactors for the power generation. We won't need to wait for 2070. Why is this important? Because there is one more country that wants thorium-based nuclear reactors almost as bad and as early as we do. Remember this graph? Did you notice China has even lower reserves of uranium than we do? Even for thorium, they don't seem to have much. But recently, they have discovered 1 million tons of thorium in the deserts of Mongolia. China has already successfully built a prototype thorium reactor. Now, this is similar to stage 3 for India, which we are far away from, but China almost has a prototype reactor sitting there. Here, I want you to pause and think about why do we even need 300 years worth of electricity in the first place? See, here's the thing. As the world is moving towards AI, do you know what AI and data centers consume? Electricity and water, right? Pentagon today is training AI on their classified data. Think about what that means. I think future is very certain. AI will become something that will be part of every country's defense arsenal. That is, India should not be dependent on any other country for its electricity needs. We can be cut off overnight. India has already suffered for 34 long years when everyone in the world had blacklisted India. You know what they say, right? Fool me once, shame on you. But fool me twice, shame on me.